Now, some of you may have heard in the news, or might not have, to this week is National Apprentice Week from the 14th to the 18th of March 2016. And we're joined this morning by Colin and Jay from the 3A Apprentices Trust. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about where you're from this morning and what it's about?
Yeah, so National Apprenticeship Week takes place every year. It's been going for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's all about raising awareness for apprenticeships up and down the country. So both to employers who maybe never thought about taking apprentices on before, or maybe thinking about doing it again, but also to young people, the school leavers, people who maybe thinking about going to college or university, and sort of promoting the difference differences between going to college and going to university. There actually is different options available, and the whole wide the different jobs that's available. There's thousands of different apprenticeships available. We work for a company, 3As, which is a national apprenticeship provider. Middlesbrough's the newest academy that there is. We've got 41 up and down the country.
Okay.
And we opened up just before Christmas, offering apprenticeships in IT, in digital marketing, and business administration as well.
Now, for a lot of people leaving school, there's a lot of choices out there. Maybe the armed forces, maybe straight into work, maybe apprenticeships. But to choose an apprenticeship, why should we look at doing that route? What makes it? What's valuable at doing that?
Well, like apprenticeships are like college, and they're not right for everybody. So some people might be sick of sitting in a classroom all day every day. You can only learn so much. If you're thinking, I want to get my qualifications, but I also want to get some real world experience as well. The main benefit to young people is actually the money in their pocket as well. Obviously, to pay a job where you actually, it's not just you're not just doing like work experience. You're actually doing real experience. You'll pick up real responsibilities within your first few days of doing it, and you start contributing back towards the business that you're working for. You do get the value, but you're not missing out on the qualifications by choosing an apprenticeship over college or over university.
Now, apprenticeships I know are very hands-on. It's sort of straight in there, and and getting that experience, as you say. But what do you think it makes that so important in this day and age?
It is about there's a lot of unemployment in the area. So by the time you go through to college and you go through to university, everybody hears about graduates in the news struggling to find employment. If you consider an apprenticeship beforehand, yes, you go in and you learn the trade very much earlier on. You are getting that experience. So when you get into your late teens and your early 20s and so on, you've actually got plenty of years' experience behind you, which is and skills that you're not going to be able to pick up in a college. That's actually relevant to an industry that you're genuinely interested in and you want to work in, and it springboards your career. Apprentices do earn more money in the long term of their career than someone who's been at university.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I've done an apprenticeship myself, so I know it looks great on your CV. But from your point of view, you said you were from 3A apprenticeship. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what you guys do?
So 3A has been going for about 8 years now. We had Ofsted inspection just a few months ago, in 2014, which was outstanding, which is the highest grade that you can get, so it covers the same sort of framework that schools and colleges apprenticeships fall under that as well. The owners of the company is Pete Marples and Di McAvoy Robinson. They started the company about 8 years ago, starting off with one little small room inside Derby College, really promoting and knowing that there wasn't necessarily the opportunities in and around Derby, which is where the head office is and where the first academy was. Really looking to promote IT apprenticeships. There was definitely a shortage of that in the area, and it's given young people the right sort of opportunities and the right level of training. And as a company sort of gone from strength to strength, they've opened up to say 41 academies in just 8 years, and become like a national training provider. Almost every major city and town in England has got an academy within an hour or so of it, and it's about giving them high valued skilled training in an academy. It's not just a virtual someone standing talking to you in a classroom all day every day. There's a lot of hands-on technical training for the IT, for the guys who are doing web development and things like that, and web design. There's academies purpose built and set up to make sure that everybody comes away from the training, comes away and completes their apprenticeship a lot further on than they would necessarily be getting in a college.
Now, IT, it's everywhere. You can't really go, anywhere else at your phone, your cars. What sort of opportunities do you think there are for people who decide to do an IT apprenticeship?
Well, I think you've already mentioned it there. It's in everybody's phones, it's in everybody's cars. There's something in cars and phones are now the same sort of thing, where you can power a lot of it technology inside of your car using your phone. Technology is not going anywhere. It's going to be the future industry. for it, and IT is obviously the main function that goes behind that. It's one of the industries that will never ever get smaller, not in our lifetime. So there's only ever going to be more and more opportunities. There are skill shortages within the area. Even in around in Teesside, there is a big transition from old manufacturing industry, which is still thriving in the area, but having some difficulties, to more technological and creative, with the bohos opening up in Millsborough in the last few years. There's a lot more business parks are now focusing in and around technology, so the opportunities in this area are only going to become more frequent.
So you mentioned earlier web design as well. Now, creating a website, again, the internet is where you go, and there's some of these fantastic websites and things like that. And for a lot of people, that seems like, for me, well, I've had to go up building websites. I think somewhere in your school life, everyone's had a little dabble at it. But how can you, what sort of paths can you take with that? Because that's something really still quite new, isn't it?
Well, you try and find a business, and what's the first place you do? Where do you go? You go to Google?
Yeah.
Yeah. Use different search engines, and that's become the main part of every single business, whether it is a small one-man band, or whether it's becoming the biggest companies in the world. Everybody has a website, everybody has social media pages as well, which all sort of feed into each other. Nobody that I know of, in the last spoken in the last few years, has actually picked up yellow pages to try and find a business anymore. There's businesses spend more on online marketing. Last year, in 2015, was the first year when they spent more on online marketing, which includes developing websites, than they did on television advertising for the first time. So you can see where the transition, where businesses are going as well. It's not as expensive as doing television advertising, for example. So then businesses are looking at, actually, there is a real opportunity to target and specifically find our customers, and they're understanding that you don't necessarily need to be paying and get someone that's got years and years and years experience to go and do this, when you can actually train up and give an opportunity to an apprentice who will, yes, with the right training and support from ourselves, within a few months, we'll actually be able to start looking after and managing your website and moving you up sort of the Google rankings.
And that's obviously the main thing, isn't it? I think one of the issues with Google is you want to be up there at the top. Don't you search your Google, you want to be the top of the mark, and it's great to hear all that. But say somebody's sort of just left school and they're doing they've got this sort of IT floating around. What if they're not sort of as IT literate?
That's where the apprenticeship comes in. If you knew everything as soon as you left school, there'd be no place for apprenticeships, there'd be no place for college, everybody would just go straight into work. That's what the apprenticeship is for. It's about giving someone the right support. There'll be some people who left school and they'll think, I can code a website, it's no problem, I can use HTML languages or whatever it may be, which is great for them. There's some people, the majority of young people can't necessarily do that, and the big part of it, it's about being shown how to do it and being given the opportunity to practice and develop the skills throughout the course of an apprenticeship, which is why the apprenticeships are 12 months, not just 2 or 3 months. You're not going to learn how to be everything and master everything in a few months, but you get support from ourselves in a training academy and in the workplace to really learn those skills and be given the opportunity. The ones that are a bit further on, who already don't maybe necessarily know how to code a website, right, we'll take them to the next level. We'll show them alternative things for everybody else. It's about getting everybody up to speed through a structured training program.
Now, for a lot of people, apprenticeships, it's kind of like they may think it's you've just finished school. Is it going to be another? And you mentioned this earlier, is it another classroom base? But can you give us a sort of day in the life of an apprentice and what they would expect through their days?
So every apprenticeship is different, but there is the sort of standard things that you'd expect. So every apprentice, when they go into the workplace, they'll go through the standard inductions that me and you will get when we go into employment. But the difference between an apprenticeship and a regular sort of full-time job, part-time job, is they'll be given one-to-one training and support throughout the apprenticeship, whether it's through the employer, whether it's ourselves coming into the workplace, a combination of both as well. But the main part of it is that actually doing a valued job, there is a need for that apprentice to be in that company. It's not just a case of sitting next to somebody who's doing that job and then you can watch them do it. It is, right, we need someone to do this. If you don't know how to do it, I'm going to train you, I'm going to support you through how to do those sort of things. If you don't know how to do it, right, we're going to show you how to do it better, and then you can actually start paying back in a few months when you're comfortable with your job and you understand how that business works, and start looking to either improve efficiencies within it, to maybe drive revenue or income back towards the business. Is it to help grow it online? Is it all about getting as many likes as you can on Facebook? There's loads of different ways that you can do within that. If it's like an IT technician, it's supporting so that business actually keeps ticking over. And I say there's not necessarily targets. It's making sure that those people who have got targets within a business or an important function, if their IT equipment fails, you have to be on hand to be able to support and maintain and get that back on track so that the business keeps on going.
You mentioned support there, and that really is a key to apprenticeship, isn't it? Learning from somebody who does it, and that's sort of the massive. How would you monitor an apprenticeship? How would you make sure that you are doing constantly up to date?
Yep. So the way that we do it at 3 is there's a training academy which is on Albert Road in Middlesbrough, which is it's purpose built for IT technicians, web developers, and digital marketers as well. So they'll actually receive support in a training academy in an environment completely different to a college. Okay. And that's from someone that's got years and years of sort of industry experience and understands what it's like and the difference between someone that's 35 and has got years. And it's not to just refresh to someone that's necessarily brand new, who's 16, 17, 18 year old, who's brand new within it, and is training them up within that. They'll also get support in the workplace from an assessor who comes out to see them. And again, it's someone that's got industry experience, who knows the job role they've done it themselves for a number of years, and they will be able to support them and understand what challenges they're going to come across, what difficulties they're going to have, what sort of things are they going to find easy, what sort of things are they going to find hard, and they'll work everybody on a one-to-one basis. I've always said with apprenticeships it's possible to have 30 people doing the same job, but take 30 completely different routes through that apprenticeship. It's all about the individual, and it's about understanding their strengths and capitalising on it, understanding the weaknesses, and helping them support on a one-to-one basis to go through with that. And it's once or twice a month. There'll be 2 or 3 hours. Someone will come and sit and support you and assess you through your qualifications as well.
Now, I'm quite lucky in that I've actually done an apprenticeship, so I can sort of reinforce everything you're saying and know how it works. And I think, I generally think it's one of the best things I've ever actually done. Now, I did an electrical apprenticeship, quite a while ago to say at least. But for IT, obviously IT now, you say everything includes IT. It's such a broad subject. What would make what could you say to persuade somebody to want to think about the IT over something else?
Over something like electrical, yeah? Well, one is it's actually having a conversation with that person and finding out, do they enjoy using computers? Right? What do they enjoy about using computers? Is it actually, we meet quite a lot of young people who are thinking, I love just pulling my computer apart. I don't know what all the bits do on the inside, but I love just using my hands and trying to suss it all out. I like to try and build or upgrade my own computer. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going on YouTube. I'm trying to research things for myself. And that sort of things with ourselves. This guy probably wants to be a technician. He maybe wants to go to the next stage and start learning about how to manage a network of 10 computers, 20 computers, or 50 computers. Or maybe still want to be in PC maintenance and repairs, where they do love to be sort of hands-on, and that's not necessarily the server side of things. Or you'll hear someone saying, "Oh, I know I'm not bothered about doing the hands-on stuff. I'm all right, just clicking away. I like using my computer rather than doing technical things with it." And that sort of brings us, well, what do you like doing? Are you into gaming? Do you like doing design, or you like doing design? Okay, so what sort of things have you designed? Do you do it in your own time? Do you like using Photoshop? It's all these sort of softer skills where they're using them, but they don't necessarily know how to apply to the IT industry. I enjoy using Photoshop and editing photos. Well, what about doing things like graphic design? What about doing web design and having a look at that? There's quite a lot of people who think, I like using my computer. I'm not good at Photoshop. I'm not good at the technical sort of stuff. But what I do like doing is social media. I love going on Facebook. I'm always on Twitter, right?
Who doesn't?
Exactly. Everybody's on it, right? I'm always having a bit of a snoop around and seeing what's going on there. You get people that's doing blogging, and that tells us digital marketing, which is a big part of it. So it's about putting interesting content on our social media page, and that's one of the training programs that they could then consider. Is understanding there's a difference between how to manage a business's social media page is to putting a picture of me dog on, or what I had with my tea last night, or whatever it may be, and having an understanding. And we sort of think, right, there's always an opportunity for somebody to just apply some things that they already do, they already enjoy. Everybody uses computers, everybody uses phones, and it is about saying, if you really enjoy it, you want to learn more about it, there are opportunities there for you. If there's not, then us at 3 years, we'll point you in the right direction of a college or a provider that can actually, that's probably more right and relevant for you. It's very much about finding out what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, then come and have a chat. We'll talk you through, and then you'll know by the end of a conversation. Yeah, actually, I do want to know more about this. Or yes, I'm really interested. I'm thinking, that's definitely not for me. now I know more about it, I can have a look at alternative apprenticeships, which we will obviously give a little bit of advice and guidance towards as well.
Because I think, IT nowadays, if you've got that on your CV, anybody will want to go on. You can't, whether you're just working, as a shop assistant or working as a IT technician, it's that thing everyone seems to look at because computers,
well, that's the thing you mentioned there. In shops, most shops that have got chains use electronic till systems, and you can have one guess who supports all that. It's IT. There'll be an IT technical support somewhere within that company. Every time you're doing contact payment technology, or whether it's just the tills or anything that are linked in, you'll go into certain shops and you'll see them that they'll be scanning the products and doing stock checks. That's all IT that goes on behind the scenes. Most businesses, in one form or another, will do IT. If it's a particularly small business, then they might look after someone to manage the website. If it's a little bit bigger, then it might be the administration, it might be someone actually looking after and monitoring. Maybe he's looking to help support with the finances or the payroll, it might be, or just looking after invoices and doing all sorts of things in the admin. Well, taking away the administration part of the role, which is using softer IT skills, more sort of generic IT skills, and allowing the people who are actually running and developing the business to do what they need to do and grow their business, which is obviously beneficial for everybody.
Okay, we'll hear more from that in just a second after a little break, as it's, I think it's been very interesting so far to hear about it. But here's a little bit of Lucas Graham. We'll be right back after this. So we've been talking about National Apprenticeship Week, also known as North 2016. It's coordinated by the National Apprenticeship Service and is designed to celebrate apprenticeships and the positive impact they have on individuals, businesses and the wider community. It's taking place from the 14th to 18th of March this month, starting today. And the key theme for National Apprenticeship Week 2016 is an apprenticeship can take you anywhere, with a particular focus on higher skills to show how young people, entrepreneurs and businesses can rise to the top through traineeships and apprenticeships. And you may be aware that today we have been joined by 3A, Jay and Colin, who will be talking to us this morning. So thank you for joining us. And just very quickly, briefly, we spoke a bit about the apprenticeships and what they entail and how you go about doing them. But what's the minimum requirement? Say I've just left school. What's the minimum requirement needed for an apprenticeship?
Yep. So for all our apprenticeships, there's generally we'll say 4 grade C's, a GCSE, and specifically including like maths and English, if they can. But it's not a strict and hard and fast rule. If there's someone that can show the right sort of attitude, the right passion, then we're more than happily sort of work with those apprentices. I'll just tell you in the break there, there's one girl who left school with E's and F's. But when we met her, we were like, she's going to be absolutely fantastic. It took her not 5 minutes for Jay to talk to an employer and arrange an interview, because you just got that vibe that really she's going to go well. We can support her through the maths and English part of the apprenticeship. It just means she'll get additional support over your normal apprentice, but that's absolutely fine, because we're more than happy to do it, because we know that should be a success. It's about how can someone demonstrate and talk, I'm really going to be committed to getting through my apprenticeship and use this as a springboard into a job, because we do have a big focus on jobs at the end of the apprenticeship. So we like to make sure everyone goes straight through the apprenticeship, and if there's a job at the end, they're going to want to continue to do it. They've really enjoyed that apprenticeship. They've really enjoyed working with that company. They've really enjoyed learning those skills. So we're looking there for the right person from then.
So again, it's just that support, isn't it? Because when I did my apprenticeship, I just to say Mr. C and got the D for my maths, and that was it. And
it's not uncommon for someone to, especially when you get the pressure for the exams, and all of a sudden you've got a few weeks, and if you get a D, it's not a fail in your GCSE. It just means when you come on to doing an apprenticeship, when you go to college, you probably have to resit. You're doing your maths if you got the D, and if you've got the right sort of attitude and things like that, which is the most important thing to ourselves and to employers. It's about demonstrating I want to do more, and this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm prepared to do these sort of things. If it means you may have to do a little bit more work through your apprenticeship.
Now, you mentioned in the break there that the age range for apprenticeships is 16 to 23. That's brilliant for people leaving school. But what about somebody who's done something else and they're looking to change their career, maybe? Is that something you look at?
That's very common as well. So you may have someone who's maybe done an apprenticeship in I wanted to work in childcare because that's what I enjoyed, and that's what my friends did when we went to school. We did hairdressing, or you get one or two of the lads that could do motor mechanics and those sort of things, and then they've come away and thought, that's not necessarily for me. That's absolutely fine. Come and have a chat with us, and we'll talk to you about IT. And when you go back and you think,
I did enjoy doing IT at school, or even my school didn't necessarily do IT, but I wanted to do it. And because I didn't do it, I didn't feel as though I could. You never know. It's about your personality. You learn the IT skills throughout your apprenticeship. As from it, if you've got the right sort of personality, you've got the right sort of commitment, then that's what employers buy into as well as ourselves.
Now, I've heard a lot about your company here. It sounds brilliant, and you're covering all the bases and all the support there. It seems fantastic. Now, Jay, you've been sat in that corner quietly, which is good. You've got an open day coming up very soon. Can you tell us a little bit about that so we can come down and physically meet you guys?
Yeah, so Wednesday this week, we're opening up the academy to local businesses and young people in the area, because you sometimes find people have questions about apprentices and apprenticeships. They might want to take somebody on, or they might want to do one, but don't necessarily know kind of what it involves, how they'd start it. Come down, see us. The full academy is going to be open. They'll be able to see the training rooms, be able to talk through the training we provide, the type of apprenticeships that we provide, how they go about starting them. For employees especially, they can come in, see the kind of people that we're working with, hear about guys that we've already got. We've got current apprentices coming in so they can talk to them. So,
in your opinion, then, how important do you think it is to have an apprentice at a local business?
I'm a massive advocate for it. I think it gives people kind of that starting mark when they don't know what they want to do, and for me, it's businesses giving back in the community. It's giving young people opportunities that don't necessarily know where they need to go, and that can actually be a full career starting for them without them even realising it.
It's all like the future for the company, isn't it?
You can train and mould them to exactly what you want. I think sometimes if you get somebody with a little bit of experience, they kind of can come in and say, well, this is how I do it and this is how I want to do it. Whereas if you get an apprentice in, you can say, this is what the business does, this is how we work, this is how we need it doing, and train them to do what you need them to actually do.
So what do you look for in local business for apprenticeships?
For me, it's like Cole said in the break, I look when a business comes to me and says, do you know what, I want somebody to come in. It is, right, okay, that's fine. We'll help you find somebody. We'll match you the right candidate. But are you going to have the time to invest in them as much as we do? We can't just, per se, chuck somebody in a business and leave them to get on with it. It doesn't happen like that. They need to be able to sit down. They need to be able to monitor what they're doing, set goals for them of what they want them to achieve in the business and what they actually want them to do for them.
That's it. The sort of short-term goals in the end is bigger than the long-term. Build up to it. I know this open day, obviously, it'd be great to come down and physically, meet you guys and see in person what it's about. It's sort of split into two parts, isn't it? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're going to split it. So we've got from 4 p.m. till 5:30. It's open for any local businesses and employees to come down, whether you're a one-man band or you're a corporate company. Send somebody down to us, come and see what we do. Then from 5:30 till 7:30 for anybody interested in actually doing an apprenticeship themselves. Just come down, ask whatever questions you've got.
Now, if there is a young person up there listening, and they're sort of just come up to the end of the school year and they're in year 11 and leaving, what sort of, or even better, if someone in year 9, for instance, listening and taking their options, what sort of choices should they be making to forward that towards an IT apprenticeship?
I mean, ideally, if it was somebody in year 9 coming down to see us, we'd be looking that they potentially are going to be taking, like, the BTEC IT or the GNVQ IT or GCSE, just something that's going to take them down that avenue. If it's somebody from year 11, it might be they didn't necessarily take it, but that's what they're interested in. So, again, it's just come down, ask the questions.
Yeah, that's a good question. If you've left school and you haven't quite took the right choices, that's quite you might think, oh, that's a big mistake. How do I do this? Now I've sort of had that same situation myself. I thought I haven't quite made the right choices. So is there still a path there to come down and address that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're leaving school and 2 years ago IT might have been something you've never even thought about, but within the last year you've spent your whole kind of personal time ripping your computer apart, rebuilding it, or like we were saying on the social media, things like that. You've now got an invested interest. Fair enough, you haven't done it, but you might be capable of doing it.
That's it. I mean, I don't really know any sort of teenager now who doesn't quite know how to use social media. So it's a good one. So this open day that's happening is obviously between 4 and 5:30 for local businesses, and then 5 till 7:30 for young people. So where's this taking place?
It's Albert Road in Middlesbrough. We're 16 to 24 Albert Road. What we can do is we'll leave you details of our website that's got our address on. We'll also link it on your Facebook page so people can get the details on there.
That's good. And for people who do maybe want to find out more after that, can they come down any...
Yeah, I mean, contact us anytime. What we'll do, we'll leave all the details, we'll link them to your page. They'll have my name, my contact details. Businesses, if they can't make it on the Wednesday, give me a ring, drop me an email. We're there. Well, Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, I would say 24/7, but just email us and we'll always get back to you.
So in terms of, and this sort of question based at both of you again, in terms of that sort of changing career, it's getting quite more common now. People sit there thinking, starting off thinking, I just don't want this job anymore. I'd quite like a new job. And IT, it's so exciting, and the fact that you can use it across everything. What would you look at to even think? What would you start doing that?
If you want to change your career to IT, I don't know, for me.
The obvious thing to start is come and have a chat with us. We'll have a chat around the different options and opportunities that's available. There's, as I was telling you before, there's loads of different roles within IT. There's loads of different sectors it can apply to. So it's having a bit of a chat with you about where can you see yourself going. There's quite a few people that we've spoken to and that have changed their careers. They've gone and studied maybe business at college, and have come away and thought, I don't know where to go with it from there. I've done geography, or I've done quite a few different engineering, but I don't know. I know it's not for me, but I don't know what is for me. Come down, give us a ring, drop us an email, or we'll organise a time. We'll have a bit of a chat with you one-to-one, and we'll say, right, this is what IT is all about. This is what's available right now. This is what we've got coming up in the next few weeks, in the next few months. Is any of this sort of right for yourself? And you normally see a little spark in their eye, thinking when you hit on something and you think that's what it is. They don't even realise it themselves, and when you start talking to them a little bit more detail about what to expect, they'll buy into it, or they'll come up with maybe, I still don't know, right? You're going to come along to the open event, meet one or two of the employers. They will tell you what a day in the life of working for their company is all about. They'll be more than happy to do that. And then once you can sort of visualise, and you'll be able to visualise yourself in that role, working for that company, you might be able to do like a work trial or a traineeship or something along those lines. Think, yes, this is definitely going to be for me. But we're going to say we've been doing this sort of long enough, and we're trained enough to when having that conversation with someone, if the spark sort of is there, and then we'll know to explore that route with them a little bit more in a bit more detail.
I think as I've completely just moving a little bit to another question. Obviously, looking through the Tees Valley, there's been so many closures of SSI and all these different places, and it's been it's not looking very good. But IT, everywhere needs it. It's so an apprenticeship in IT. How important do you think that is? How much impact do you think that could have on the Tees Valley moving forward from these closures?
It could be absolutely huge for the area. With us, that's one of the reasons that we decided to open up in Middlesbrough. We've got one academy in London. There's thousands more businesses in London. We could have opened up down there, but we know that there's a skills shortage in Middlesbrough and in the Tees Valley region, which is why we've decided to open up here. There is a lot of businesses who could progress and grow if that support was there for them, and training up young people who can not just stay with them for the next year or two, but in 10, 15 years' time, as that business grows, will then have the training and the background to support with the IT infrastructure, whether it be the website and development and trying to generate leads for the business that way, whether it be the IT support and actually so the people who are doing the job can continue to do can continue to do those roles within the business. There's a big transition, you see, within the Tees Valley region to move away from engineering and manufacturing towards the more creative and technological industries. Technology is becoming a big part in and around the business parks that's open up. And see, if it's a one-man band or it's a small business just moving to the office for the first time, it's about getting the right sort of infrastructure. And an apprentice can do a lot more than what you're probably thinking that they can. And again, for the apprentices themselves, within a few weeks and months, you'll be amazed with the sort of training and support how much you can learn in such a short space of time when you were learning it in the right sort of in our academy and then applying it straight to the workplace, rather than learning everything for a year or two and then getting to your first job and just going, what was it I did 2 years ago? Because I now need to remember that to try and how to do it. I have to go back through my notes. All right, I need a bit more training and support to get through it again.
You made a really good point there as well. I heard about business parks, and we get a lot of these places popping up out of nowhere. We're surrounded by them, and they're just listening to the news, I've heard some things about them. There's one place that's developing things for Mars, and the IT there is going to be paramount, I can imagine. How important do you think the apprenticeships are moving forward from all these closures and IT being here and you guys coming in?
Yep.
How important do you think young people are to the development of that?
It's massive. One, it's about keeping the skills, because there's a lot of talented youngsters in the area, and it's about keeping them in the area. And if you invest in them young, you'll get a lot more loyalty and commitment back from them. So if they have decided to go to university after completing their apprenticeship and they've maybe done it part time, they're going to be sticking with your company because they're bought in to what you've done. They're part of that bigger overall project, rather than going through to college, going to university, and then going down to London or going off to different countries or whatever it may be, or different parts of our country, because that's where they feel as though the job might be. If you invest in them young, you're going to have somebody, and you're going to get a lot more retention within your apprentice. You're going to have someone who's moulded into the way that you run your business, really understanding the values of what your business is all around. The apprentice themselves will then feel as though that because they put a lot in, it's almost like their baby, it's their project. They'll have seen and grown the business grow, and they've been an important and valued part of that. And the retention with an apprentice when you start them particularly young and train them up within your business is far higher than it would be for someone that's either a university graduate or someone that's got older and more experience and maybe had different jobs, because of what they don't have that. Well, in my last place we did this, in my last place we did that. An apprentice comes in, all right, this is how you do it. That's how I'm doing it.
It's just sort of like the more you put in, the more you get out for both sides, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. The more that the employer will sort of take them on, train them up, and give them absolutely plenty of support, the better and more developed that their apprentice will be. We specialise in finding someone who's got that commitment and matching them. We're not just sending companies 20, 30 CVs. We get to know our young people who are looking for apprentices really, really well, and really understand what they want to do, and also just as important, what they don't want to do. What sort of business do they want to work for? What sort of business do they not want to work for? Well, also the company, what type of person can you see sat in that chair? It's about matching the personalities up with the culture of a business. And when you get that sort of click right, which we do more often than not, both of them grow and thrive together.
That's it, because everything seems to be so dependent on this CV, but getting behind that, apprenticeship seems
There's
to
a lot
do
more
it,
to a person than a CV. So if everybody leaves school and they look at the CV, have you got work experience? Maybe a week. Have you got some GCSE grades? Great, so does everybody else. Right? Do you work well in a team? So does everybody. Have you got good communication skills? Probably, right? So let's see what is it about this person and that business, and why do we feel as though they click? Why do we feel as though they're going to be a match? And we'll never send more than really 2-3 CVs for every single opportunity. But when we're doing that, it means Jake can actually have a chat with that company. This is the reason why I think this person could be right for you. This is also the reason why I think this business could be the opportunity that you want to go for. We're helping them prepare for interviews to an extent, but we're not going to go keep giving someone every single person a script to go in. It's about helping them express themselves when they get to an interview stage, so that the employer doesn't necessarily just see a bit of a production line of people coming out, coming across the way and see it. So it saves on their time and effort of putting the job adverts out, going through all the applications, then organising initial interviews, then organising second interviews if needs be, to try and narrow down a shortlist. We do all of that on behalf of the business. There's a lot of young people who we work with on a weekly basis who we do help prepare. We don't say we don't get paid, we do it off our own back, because we know that someone's really, really good, but they not necessarily didn't have the grades, like we mentioned, they might have got D's. Well, this is how you're going to have to get through your interview. You're going to talk around your strengths. What about this and what about them? We'll give them ideas and we'll help them sort of understand how to give a fantastic interview or a fantastic work trial.
And having the words apprenticeship certificate on that CV, that just sort of ticks all the boxes, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. For the apprentice themselves, it's a demonstration of achievement. You can't get through an apprenticeship without actually demonstrating your skills. Employers understand that. Young people learn to understand that when they'll do some work. You fell a little bit short on the standards there. There is a sort of standard you have to hit. So we'll train you, we'll support you, we'll get it next time, and we'll assess you all the way through your qualification. It's one of the reasons, because we are quite particular on who we work with. We are quite particular about the apprentices that we work with and the loyalty and the commitment that we're going to get. It's one of the reasons that we've got the outstanding from Ofsted.
You mentioned there you got the outstanding officer report. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I mean, these days reviews are everything.
So every apprenticeship provider, school, college, nurseries, anyone that delivers sort of education has to go through the same the Ofsted framework. So there's 4 major areas that they'll look at, and there's 4 gradings that you can get. You get outstanding, you can get good, requires improvement, or inadequate for the 4 standards. We scored outstanding across the board. We were the first training provider in the UK to get that on a first inspection, which is a huge badge of honour for ourselves. When we had absolutely every confidence when the Ofsted inspectors were coming in for the full week that we were going to come out with an outstanding grade, because we put everything in place, and it was very much around putting the apprentice first. How can we make sure that apprentice is going to get every piece of support that they need? And then that has been replicated out into every single academy. So you can walk into any one of our academies up and down the country. You can go into Derby, you can go to London, Norwich, Liverpool, Manchester, wherever it may be, and you will see the same support mechanisms in place for every apprentice, for every employer. Everybody runs the same training models as you're working your way through your apprenticeship. And that's one of the reasons, because it's not just a case of you do this week and that's one unit done from your apprenticeship, and the next week's a different one. All right, you were ill with that one. It's all interrelated as you're working your way through. So it's a full learning experience. It's an apprentice journey, we call it.
You just mentioned obviously putting apprentice first, and that's obviously the most important factor. But for an employer, say there's an employer sat out there and they don't have any apprentices. What sort of benefits? And we did mention a little bit this earlier in the interview. What sort of apprenticeship? What sort of benefits could they get from taking just an apprentice on?
It's endless, to be honest, depending on what they're looking for. If they're looking for someone who can support their business to take them to the next level. So the guys, if it's, like I say, a small business, medium business, a large business, if they're thinking, right, it's a small business, I need someone who is going to free up a lot of my time, but I can train and develop to help me grow my business. That's what they'll get out of it. Okay. If you're talking from a medium-sized business, then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be freeing up certain resources. You're going to be, it's about paying back to the community as well. So it's a good way to get sort of publicity for the company and understanding. Right. It's about giving you your reputation, because everybody's looking out for the customers. If it's a large business who's looking to sort of take on apprentices for the first time, it is about, again, sustaining. Every business wants to grow and develop. And whether you've got 5,000 employees or whether you've got 2, it's about growing and developing your business, and apprentices will give them the opportunity to do that. There's grants and things that's available for some smaller companies that can help out, which is £1,500, and when you can use that to invest in infrastructure in your company, you can use it to pay the wages of the apprentice. If you like, there's different opportunities depending on what you want out of your apprentice. As if you've got a clear vision, then we can find the right sort of apprentice for you.
Now you've been listening all this morning. We've had Jay and Colin, completely red blank there, from 3 years apprenticeship service, I think IT. It's been brilliant to have you both here. And we're just talking just before I went there. Different apprenticeship levels you do. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So we focus on 2 areas of apprenticeship. We do advanced apprenticeships, which are level 3, which are the equivalent to 2 A levels. We do level 4, which is the higher apprenticeship, which is the equivalent of doing a foundation degree or your first year at university. So there's a lot of people we found in the area who have done the level 2, the level 3 apprenticeships, or they've been to college and got the A levels and think, actually, I'm a bit further on, do I need an apprenticeship? Then you can consider maybe doing a level 4 and getting your first year of university training and experience in the workplace, but without the £9,500 a year fees. It's all fully funded for yourself. And it's a fantastic experience. And the level 3 apprenticeship for anyone that's looking to progress, if they've done it at GCSE and you're looking to go on and do your A level equivalents, then that's what we specialise in, at level 3 and level 4 apprenticeships.
And just showing how times have moved on from when I did my apprenticeship. You mentioned functional skills earlier.
So functional skills, as we talked about before, there may be 1 or 2 people who didn't necessarily get the grade C's in the maths, the English or the IT when they left school. That in a perfect world, everybody would have it, but in reality, that's not the case. If somebody hasn't got that, it does mean you'll do your maths and your English and functional skills, which is slightly different because it's more real world than the old key skills from when you're doing your apprenticeship. So it just means you get an opportunity to do it again as part of your apprenticeship, rather than thinking, am I going to have to go through like the rest of my career and then maybe try and fit college in it somewhere. You don't necessarily need to. It's built into the apprenticeship framework for those that need it.
Now, just a quick question, obviously, from a lot of people I know have done apprenticeships, and there's quite a bit like this. Those functional skills, do they constitute do they sort of equivalent to a C?
Yeah, so that's exactly it. So if you do a level 2 functional skills, that's equivalent to your GCSE grade C. So if you've got the C when you left school, you don't need to do your functional skills again. You'd be pleased to know that. But if you haven't, then you do get an opportunity to sit that again. Quite often I was only just a few marks away from getting a C. It's absolutely fine. We'll support you from through that before. And obviously I mentioned a girl who was quite a few marks who she got an A and F before. She'll get plenty of support all the way through her apprenticeship. So it's nothing. It's sort of a weight off her mind, thinking it's been a stumbling block with some other training providers before. Think, well, I haven't got the C's. But with ourselves, we built it into the framework for those that need it. So there'll be an opportunity to get the GCSE grade C equivalent through functional skills.
Okay. Just finally, just rounding up now. I thought it's been great to have you here. Your open day, obviously the most important thing, so we can come down
so
and meet
it's
you
this
guys.
Wednesday. Employers can come in from 4 till 5:30, and then anyone that's aged 16 to 23, or if your parents, or if you've got kids who either have left school and they're not sure what to do, or if they're leaving school in the next year or two, by all means, feel free to come along from 5:30 till 7. And it's on number 16 to 24 Albert Road, just on the first floor. You'll see your signs in the window.
And it's been a pleasure to have you here at Ignition Radio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.